Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Repurpose Live, where we help you to rethink your priorities of growth, wellness, and purpose. My name is Lissa Figgins, and it's my mission to help women like you to have the health, the time, and the resources to better do the things that you are called to do. And my intention each and every week is to introduce you to an amazing woman who can also help you on your journey. So today I'm super excited to introduce you to Dr. Asha Bohannon. She helps others to get rid of the golden handcuffs. Now in her past, she was a pharmacist. She's also an author, a speaker, a business consultant, and her passion is really around helping pharmacists and others to get out of a retail job and to actually pursue something that's going to be fulfilling. And so she teaches people how to get out of their own way, how to find the right steps to actually get started, and then how to avoid those common mistakes that a lot of people often make. So you are in for a treat today. Make sure that you listen in for some tips, even if you are not a pharmacist. So Dr. Asha, thank you so much for being with us today. Tell us a little bit more just about your story and how you got from what you were doing to what you're doing today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to be here. So as Melissa was saying, that I am a pharmacist. So I am still a pharmacist, but doing something a little different than the retail kind of model that I was doing for 20 plus years. So I started out in that atmosphere and really grew into feeling like I was feeding people's illnesses rather than helping them get and stay well, which is a true passion of mine. And so as I started to feel that burnout, that job burnout, the stress that started getting to me, that started affecting my own health and well-being, that's when I started to kind of, the gears started shifting in my brain and turning. And I started thinking about what else that was out there that I could do. And it wasn't really until I started having children that kind of really snapped me into wanting to do something different with my life, because I wanted to be more available for them. I wanted to be healthier and be able to have the kind of life that I had always envisioned or imagined and dreamed of. And so as I kind of spent those years and spin those wheels and tried many different things to do, all with great pieces of wisdom that I gained. It was about 4 or 5 years ago that I decided to kind of break away from that and just do my own thing, because I think I was chasing after something that wasn't quite what I was looking for. And so I just decided to go out and do my own thing. I started my own holistic wellness practice. And then a couple of years ago, started coaching other pharmacists, because that's what I do, but in that realm of helping them build those wellness practices. And then it kind of grew a little bit more to really wanting to help professional moms or moms that wanted to do something different with their life, that they kind of lost themselves. And so that's where I'm at. It's helping you find your passion and purpose in life and really working to find what fulfills you, what fulfills your dreams, and how you can reconnect with your loved ones and everyone that you want in your life.
Wow, I love your story because I think so many people can resonate that, whether it's because of a job that we're in or, like you said, mom life, which completely changes, everything in our world, or just, life circumstances. We've all gone through a whole lot of changes in the past year and a half. And so life has looked different. Sometimes we come to those points in our life where we just are ready, like you said, for something else. And we realize that what we're doing is not giving us what we're truly looking for. So what are some of the things that you feel like, maybe kind of distract us from those things that we're looking for, that maybe kind of keep us doing something else until we finally get to that point and realize, wait, this isn't where I want to be for the next 10, 15, 20 plus years?
So the golden handcuffs, which is what you were talking about, that's my favorite phrase, because as a pharmacist, that's exactly what kept me where I was. It was the money. I mean, we all need it. We know we do. It's what keeps us going. We have to have it. And sometimes it's that comfort of knowing that where that paycheck is coming from, depending on the life circumstances that we're in. So that's number one, is obviously that paycheck, and we all need it. So definitely not downplaying that, but sometimes the comfort of that. Then there is the comfort of the actual job that you're doing, right? So that's another thing that keeps you there, is that if you've been there long enough, you start to wonder, oh, do I really want to go out and try and explore something new? I already know what I'm doing.
Sure.
It's comfortable. So kind of breaking through that comfort zone and wanting to try something different can be really hard, and it gets you in your own way, if you know what I mean. So those two things are really what kept me kind of stuck, is what I feel like I was trapped for so many years in that role, and I knew that it wasn't the right place to be. That's the thing, is I really did know it. And like I said, it wasn't until I started getting my own health problems, because I was so stressed and so burnt out, that it wasn't until then. And I still kept going in that role because it was comfortable, and because of the golden handcuffs. And I'm here to tell everybody that's listening, if you feel anything like that, stop it right now. Do not get to the place that I got in, just overwhelm and, not taking care of yourself, the self-care aspects to that, because you can get swept up so easily in that.
So true. And then you're not good to anyone. You're not a great mom, you're not a great wife, you're not great in your career because you have nothing to give. And yet, I think as women, especially those of us who are doers and go-getters, and we like to to be out there and to be pushing and doing more. It's hard to pause because we feel like I'm not being productive. I'm not doing my part, or I know I can just push through this, right? And I like how you just challenge women to stop and pause, because I think too often we either keep doing what's in front of us because that's all we know, or because it's just like you said, what's in front of us. And eventually, like what you experienced, you got to that point where now it was affecting your health. And so you had to change, because if you didn't, imagine what could have happened if you would have continued at that pace for the next 5, 10, 15 years, right?
Yeah, I don't even want to imagine it. It's that it got to that bad of a point. And that's why I'm so passionate about really getting women to just stop, especially in the thick of motherhood. I think we, like you said, that idea, I know it's a cliche and we hear it all the time, but that idea of the airplane mask, the oxygen mask, you have to fill or wear yours first. You have to fill your bucket first before you can be as effective, have the greatest amount of impact on everybody else that you want to. Because I have been at that point. I will be very honest, I have been at that point where I just have nothing left to give. And when I got to that point is when it was this big, huge shift. And I want everybody to listen. Do not get to that point.
Yeah.
I like people learning from my mistakes.
Yeah, right. And yeah, that's why I say, learn vicariously from someone else right before you are in that situation. And I actually just read a post that a friend of mine shared today where she said only 2% of people, showed a circle of a rope, and it showed what's inside the comfort zone and what's outside the comfort zone. And, and only 2% of people are willing to go outside of that circle of comfort. And and 98% are like, no, I'm just going to stay here. But then, like we're talking about, we run into that. So, if we like our comfort, right, and that's where we want to stay, what would you say to somebody who's right now listening and they're feeling like, okay, yeah, I already am experiencing health issues and I don't want this to continue. I mean, I'm in this constant state of stress, which we all know is so bad for our bodies, our hormones, our aging process, things like that. Or maybe they're just listening and saying, yeah, I don't want that. Like, let me pause here, because there's this fear about what's outside the comfort zone. So where do you start, right? How do you kind of get past this is all I know and this is what feels good, and start branching out a little bit?
Yeah. So the first thing is kind of what I said, which is just stop. Like, stop where you are and actually give pause and consideration to something else being out there. You don't have to figure it all out right now, but just know that there is something out there for you. And this is the time to figure out where that place is. So that's the first thing, is to just pause. The second thing that that really got me started on this journey, is just something very quick and easy and small to do, is to start and end each day with a gratitude practice. Because unless you feel happy and grateful for something in your life, it's really hard to see what's beyond that. Right. So you're always wanting more, but you really don't know where more is. So then you're just kind of stuck in this vicious circle. right?
Right.
So
Right.
being,
And even if you're in a situation that you don't love, there still can be things you're grateful for,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. And maybe it
Even
won't
if
be your
that's not your
job.
forever place.
That's right. Maybe it's
Mhm.
not your job, or maybe it's not the situation that you're in, but there are other things, right? So I'm super grateful for
Mhm.
my family. I'm super grateful for the sun when it comes up, like whatever it is, it can be something so simple, or it could be something very major that's happened. So whatever it is, take pause and do a start to your day and an end to your day with gratefulness. Huge
Mhm.
transformational things can happen for you. The second thing I like, or the third thing actually that I like to talk about, is discovering your strengths. So I am a
Mhm.
huge believer in really talking about someone's strengths. I don't know about you, but I was brought up, thinking about what are your strengths and weaknesses, right? So, and
Right.
everybody, every
Yes.
interview I've ever done, for jobs or whatever, was always, what are your weaknesses and what are you going to do about them, right? Like, why focus on the
Mhm.
negative, right? So I have a lot of strengths. You were born with a lot of strengths. So is the next person. So how can we utilize those strengths that we were given, that were given to
Mhm.
us, to really be more for people, and be more for ourselves? And how can we fulfill ourselves utilizing the strengths that we have versus our weaknesses, and trying to fix those? Because literally you can get overwhelmed and stressed and burnt out just from trying to fix your weaknesses. And I
Oh
don't
my
know that you
goodness.
really
And
can.
usually And I think usually that when we see our weaknesses, it's because we're either comparing ourselves to somebody else who has a strength that we don't have. And so we think, I need to have that, right? And so that must be a weakness of mine. Or we're comparing ourselves to our own unrealistic expectations of who we need to be and the lack that we think we have, right? And like you said, neither of those are going to serve us well, because we're going to get in our own head, and then we're going to be struggling and focusing on the negative. So I love that shift of mindset to the positive. That's fantastic.
Yes. And then the last thing that I always talk to people about are, the fourth thing is kind of what you were just talking about, the expectations, the comparison game. We always hear that comparison is the thief of joy. It absolutely is. And we live in a world where it is very, very easy to compare yourself. We're not
Mhm.
stopping that. I mean, I'm just, social media is here probably to stay forever. But now, here, what you have to do is to stop what I call shoulding on yourself, right? I'm sure you've heard that from other people before, but
Yes.
the stopping the shoulds. I should do this. I should be like this. I should, et cetera, right? That could go on and on and on forever. So really, it's where you are right now. Look at you in the present moment, and start being able to say no to things that don't fulfill your goals, your dreams, your passion, your purpose. And that
Mhm.
when you can start saying no to that,
Mhm.
other opportunities will open themselves up. So say no to the
I
things that aren't fulfilling you, that that are draining you, that are overwhelming you, the things that I feel like I should do, that maybe weren't things that you wanted to do. Those are the kinds of things. So that's the fourth and foremost thing, is I really, and that was hard for me because I am definitely a yes, I'm a yes girl. I was like, yes, I'll take care of you. I'm a very
right.
nurturing, or yes, I'll do this. And that was a huge shift for me, to stop being able to say I should do this because it's the right thing to do, or an obligation, and to be able to say, I'm sorry, no, I can't do that right now. Right. So
Yeah.
those are kind
Yeah.
of my top tips, is, every one of us can do this right now, and just make those
Mm.
little steps towards finding what is the right thing for you.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you don't have to have it all figured out,
Yeah.
that it's a process, of working towards that. And as you're intentional about that process, it's going to make itself clear. Or it may not be, we have the whole journey mapped out, but we just know here's the next step, or here's what this is going to involve, or here's what it's going to be a part of whatever it is that I do next. And start paying attention to the things that you think about all the time. Like, what do you naturally talk about all the time? What do people come to you about? What could you talk all day long about, right, and never get tired of it? What like lights you up, and maybe even asking people around you, like, when do you see me, like, just really fully living, like, what am I doing, and letting other people speak in, because sometimes I think we have those blinders on, we can't always see ourselves clearly.
Well,
So
once you
that's
open
someone
up your
else's
ears and your heart,
perspective.
yeah, once you open up your ears and heart, it
Mhm.
actually starts coming to you. You don't even have to ask. Because I started hearing that. It was like, oh my gosh,
Okay.
like you just lit up when you started talking about that, or that's what you should be doing. Like people would say that kind of stuff to me. And I can guarantee you when I started in pharmacy school, umpteen years ago, we won't go there right now. But when I started, this is the last thing, business consulting and coaching and mindset coaching and life coaching and health coaching. This stuff was not on my radar. I had my blinders on
Mhm.
and I was going to be a retail pharmacist. Like that was it. And so that's the other piece to just kind of going along with what you should be doing or what you think you should be doing and not stopping and saying, no, that's not what I should be doing. I need to figure out what it is that I want to do. And so
Yeah,
that's also important to do. And until we can just stop and take that breather and really find out what's important to us, you get stuck and it is not a good place to be. It's a journey, right? You
Mhm.
just, as you were saying, we talk about our fitness journey, we talk about our health journey, we talk about, all these different journeys. Well, this is a self journey. It's a self-awareness journey. And it all plays in together. So if you're on a health journey, if you're on a wellness journey, if you're on whatever fitness journey, whatever you're on, the mind, body, and spirit are all connected. We talk about, everybody talks about that. So
Yeah. Right.
this is that mind. This is about the spirit. This is about really digging in deep to figure out what all this is. And, a lot of us that are moms, we felt like, okay, we should be career women. We should be, and I hear this all the time too. There's this internal tug of war that a lot of moms feel of, I really want to be at home with my kids. I want to be that stay-at-home mom. But then the comparison thing comes in. My friends are, out doing wonderful, great things. And I feel like I need to be doing the same thing. But
Mhm.
how effective are you when your heart is saying, I need to be here, and your head is saying you need to be here? Isn't that a tug of war?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's just as much stress and burnout as being in a
Mhm.
job you really can't stand,
Oh, for sure, for
right?
sure.
Like,
I know during my years, I was an educator before kids, and then part time once I had our first two, and then just because of life circumstances ended up being home full time. And while that was a gift, I felt that struggle of I want to be with my kids, but I felt like I was fading, and I needed something that I just knew I had some gifts and abilities and things that God had given me to use, and I felt like there were other things that I needed to do. And so for me, it was trying to figure out what does that look like, and then how can I do that alongside being a mom? Because I felt like for me, going back into the classroom when they were older was just handing back control to somebody else, like you said, the golden handcuffs, right, where they control your time, your values, your priorities, your what you can say, what you can do, when you can do it. And I just thought, yeah, that's not going to allow me to be, the woman that I feel like I am called to be. So so resonate. And I know that women who are listening right now are listening up, because either they're already in this situation, or they're feeling that tug of war, or they're saying, you know what, I don't want to experience that, because they're watching other people around them. So what are some resources that you have to share, as women are looking for, help in this direction, that, that could help, them to figure out what this looks like, and what might be that next freeing step for them?
yeah, absolutely. So I have a couple of different options and resources for people that I will definitely put in the comments and let people have access to that. But one is I wrote a book called To Medicate or Not, That Is the Question. And it is about a wellness journey. It's about your health and wellness and your mind, body, and spirit, and what it takes. And it is a pharmacist's view on our healthcare system right now, because obviously my passion is health and wellness, and all of this has to do with that. If you don't find the things that you're passionate about, if you don't think that you're doing something that's meaningful to you and you're just doing it because you should be doing it, then it's affecting your health one way or another. It is affecting your health, and if it's not showing up yet, it will. And I am living proof of that. So I have a free excerpt of that on my website, which I would love for people to be able to download for free. I do have a book called Impact Pharmacist and an Impact Pharmacist program. I want to share that while it does say Impact Pharmacist, that's mainly because I am a pharmacist, but all of the teachings are for anybody. It's all about mindset, starting your own way, getting out of your own way, and how to do it. And so I've got some different resources on my website that I will definitely share. And then I also have just a passion to purpose program. So I work with, like I said, overwhelmed moms who are really looking to discover their strengths, just stop and get out of their own way, but need a little guide to help them along that way. So I will definitely put some information about all of this on the link, or link it to it, and would love to chat with anybody. I have a free connection call. So if anybody's looking just to kind of learn a little bit more about my journey or how they can get started, I would love to help anybody that needs help.
Well, thank you for being so generous, because those are amazing resources. I think when we know we're not alone, and then we are able to learn from and alongside others who have, walked this journey, that makes all the difference. So, I love that. And my heart resonates with you. I feel like, you were a pharmacist as your background. I was an educator, right? And so we bring those skills, those abilities, and now we're repurposing them to help others to discover what is it that you want to do in this next stage of life, and what would be fulfilling for you and help you to live out, your purpose and what you've been called to. And, I know both of us have online businesses as well. And like you, when I was back in school to be a teacher, I did not know there were options like that. And in many ways, I wish someone would have told me when I was in my, late teens, early 20s, but I don't know if I was ready at the time. But that's what allowed me to not have to go back into a classroom, because there is, like you said, that comfort zone of a paycheck is sometimes really, that keeps us places and keeps us doing things for a lot longer than we really want to, because, we're not quite sure what that looks like. So I will drop the link to my online business guide with 5 things to look for to find, a good fit, because I feel like, people need to know there are other options that can help bridge a gap and make it a little bit easier to slip out of those handcuffs and start pursuing the things that are most important to them. So I will put that down there. Thank you so much. Anything else that you want to share before we go with someone who's listening today?
I love what you just said. So I was going to just say one last thing with what you said about kind of that transition. So I did the same thing. So there isn't a black and white answer to any of this. It's not going from point A and literally hopping to point Z. And so I did the same thing where I kind of did some things in the transition. I kind of tried different things along the way. I wasn't able to just quit my job and say, okay, let me go find myself. So I get that. And that's where the golden handcuffs come in. The idea is to really start the transition. Like we said, it's a journey. And so there are different things out there. And I mean, we didn't have that much time to go into all of those things, but like I said, I'm more than happy to explore any options with anybody that wants help to explore that and find what the right answers are for them, because there are so many different little things that can eke your way out of your situation. So you utilize the resources that you have in front of you, with all the amazing women that you're hosting on this podcast, I'm sure. So really utilize these relationships and these resources to get you to where you want to be.
Yes, I encourage you, if you're listening, to go check these things out. Connect with us, because we have a heart to help you, just be the best version of you, the healthiest version of you, the most fulfilled version of you. And you may also have a friend or a family member who you're watching them stressed out, or you're watching them struggle, or you're watching, these things happen in their life. Please share this podcast with them as well, because I feel like, sometimes we need to hear it ourselves, but sometimes it's meant for someone else at the time. And, then that becomes our responsibility to share that with them. So yes, I want to encourage you to do that. And, we are both here to connect with you and help you on that journey. So thank you so much, Asha, for being with us today, for sharing your story, your wisdom, and your heart and passion to help others. I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. And, remember, no matter where you are right now, you can live repurposed. Just keep rethinking your priorities of growth, wellness, and purpose to create that life that you love. Take care.
Bye-bye.